computer. Okay, and now it is officially recording. So hi, my name is Jessica Stillman. I'm the Director of Operations with Verity, Sonoma County's Rape Crisis Trauma Center, and today we are going to have a panel discussion about mental health. Verity is starting these panel discussions throughout the COVID-19, and we really want to speak to members of our community who are supporting different communities. And this being May Mental Health Awareness Month, we thought it would be important to have these two speakers talk about the mental health that is being impacted during COVID-19. If I could have each of you introduce a brief introduction of yourself and which organization you're with. Either one of you can start. Okay.
I'll go ahead. I'm Mary Frances Walsh. I am Executive Director at NAMI Sonoma County. I've been with NAMI Sonoma County about 5 years. My background is in public health and just am always have personal interest in mental health and become very passionate about the work that we do during my time here. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Megan McDaniel. I am the Warm Line Program Coordinator. Our Warm Line is a non-crisis hotline that helps people navigate the mental health resources that are available to them in our community. Just like Mary Frances, I have a personal and professional interest in mental health because, as most people are aware, it affects all of us. It affects every single part of our lives, and I'm just grateful that we're able to serve those people. I've been with NAMI for about a little over 2 years now. I recently graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree, with my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I'm just glad to be here.
Great, we're happy to have both of you part of this discussion. You mentioned NAMI, but for some of our speakers today, they might not know what NAMI is. So I really love for you to tell us a little bit more about NAMI and your services. Either one who wants to.
Talk a little. So NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So it's a nationwide organization in the United States. It has about it's been around for about 40 years. Basically, we provide education and support for anybody that's affected by mental illness. We are not clinicians, we are not mental health providers, but we are individuals often with lived experience, meaning whether it's ourselves or a family member or a loved one in our life that we support who has a mental health condition. That's how we got to NAMI, many of us. I got through NAMI partially through my educational background, my master's degree, but I also got to NAMI because when I was in college, much younger, I lost a father to suicide. So I knew from that experience how much mental health impacted my own life, my family's life. And I always felt that at the time that it happened, my family just knew that something was wrong, but did not know what to do. And so that's really been my mission, to make sure that people know how to talk about mental health, are comfortable with it, and know how to seek help when they need it. And so that's what our programs are designed to do. We offer educational programs. We go out and we do presentations on mental health, how to recognize mental illness and what to do about it. And we offer support groups, both for family members supporting somebody with a serious mental health condition like depression or schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. And we offer support groups for adults living in recovery from a mental health condition. And I'll let Megan maybe talk next about what she does for NAMI.
So like I said earlier, I work on the Warm Line. So a lot of what we help do is just help people who are typically people who have experienced a recent crisis, although not currently in crisis, a lot of people have loved ones that were recently diagnosed and they don't know how to help, or someone who has a mental health condition that was just incarcerated, or they're homeless, and we help them make sense of the system, because a lot of them, they get, understandably so, they get overwhelmed with all the information out there, and it's hard to um, really pick out the pieces of what would be helpful for that individual person. So what we specialize on the warm line is understanding what those resources are, and trying to piece together ways that they can get the help themselves. So we're empowering people with the tools that they need to advocate for themselves and their loved ones as well. Um, Another unique thing about our warm line is that we give people the opportunity to be to have a follow-up call. So although this isn't meant to replace or as an alternative to mental health treatment, people have found it helpful because sometimes it just serves as a reminder that they need to attend a group, or that they forgot to call someone or something. So um, really, we just want to follow through and make sure that people are getting the help that they need. So yeah.
No, I think it's great. I know at Verity, we also have a crisis line, and we have all of our volunteers are trained on NAMI resources. And we love having this resource. And I'm so excited that we can hopefully reach more people in our Sonoma County community to learn more about NAMI and this, all your different services. And I wanted a little talk about with the current shelter in place mandate. How do you feel like this is impacting your current clients or just overall any Sonoma County resident?
Well, I think that our calls to the warm line in particular, well, I know that they have gone up. They've increased. Everyone is feeling the stress, the uncertainty, dislocation, whether it's being unemployed or having reduced hours, or being furloughed. And if all of us that are not living with a mental health condition feel this underlying anxiety and stress, people that on top of that are already experiencing those kinds of feelings because they live with a mental health condition, it amplifies it. And so they may express that just like any of us do when we're out of sorts or on edge in our behaviors. And they can be difficult to cope with. And that it also makes it hard for family members who are supporting somebody with a mental health condition. And that's so often why people need to talk about it. And so often with mental illness, or any kind of a mental health condition, people are not comfortable talking about it with people they don't know well, and sometimes even with their own family, who are, because it's a bit of a scary subject if you don't know much about it. It has been for a long time, and it is such a relief for so many people to be able to talk to people who get it, who are not shocked at anything they hear, who are have seen it, heard it, understand it, get it, why it's a problem, where people are coming from. So just that essence of not feeling so alone is one of the important resources that we can offer. But I think we're definitely seeing people who need that connection during this time. Megan, I don't know if you want to add anything.
You said it very well. I couldn't have said it better myself. There's definitely a lot of people who are in need of additional support right now, and like I said, we're not meant to serve as an alternative to any sort of therapy, but sometimes someone just needs that additional acknowledgement I mean, a lot of people are feeling hopeless right now because there's so much uncertainty, and it's really showing in what people are saying. And a lot of people are stuck at home by themselves or stuck in a hostile environment, or some people are afraid to even go home, so they're risking their lives living on the street or what have you, because they can't stay at their own home despite what all the orders are. um and yeah.
No, that is true. I think you guys are, it's really interesting what you're talking about, that more calls are those who already have a mental health need are already calling and reaching out. And I think it's important what you mentioned, that sometimes we don't know how to support our own family or be that ally if they're needing support. And so what are some ways that you could tell family members if they're seeing, first, what are the signs? If you could just say some signs, and then, or what are ways that we can support our loved ones while we see the signs?
Well, I think the signs and symptoms are changes in behavior. So it's a disruption of the norm. So it's not something that changes for an afternoon, but with a mental health condition, you're talking about something that is changing over a period of time. All of a sudden, somebody cannot sleep. Maybe they've lost interest in eating. Maybe they've lost interest in their friends or their connections. This is a little bit of a hard time because everybody's lost some connectivity. They're not seeing the normal social groups that we normally do, unless they're on Zoom or something. But those would be changes that would alert you to something is going on. Dramatic changes in sleep or eating, or behavioral changes or risk-taking behavior, that's something that is out of character for the person that you've known for a long time, or being withdrawn, or not taking pleasure in things that they used to take pleasure in. So sort of a very flat affect. With early signs of mental health conditions, it can be indecisiveness, inability to focus, inability to concentrate. And the thing is that right now during this period, that could probably be said about most all of us at times. This is a stressful period. So we all are feeling a bit out of whack and a bit distracted. So I'm not trying to say that everybody has therefore a mental health condition, but it's patterns. It's the person that was there that you knew and felt comfortable with, that something is amiss. And very often family members or somebody that's close to somebody has a sense that something isn't right for a while. And what we at NAMI are trying to do is provide education so people know at what point to reach out and ask for help, or how to talk to, how to get an evaluation for somebody. Because the fact is that there's about an 11-year gap right now between the first signs of a mental illness and the start of a treatment. Yeah. And it's such a waste of time, because the hope of recovery is really best when it's tended to early.
I would say my best suggestions for people during this time are honestly suggestions I give people all the time, which is just trying to instill the awareness of how you're feeling, and focus on things like self-care. So just taking a break, even though you didn't get anything done at all that day, that's okay. It's a very stressful time. I think it's important to remind people that there's no expected way to react to this situation, because we've never had this situation. Mm-hmm. And the people who did, it was 100 years ago, but they aren't facing the same world that we are right now. So just keeping it consistent within yourself and taking care of yourself is one of the most important things anyone can do when you have someone who has a mental health condition. Also things like creating safety plans when you're not in a crisis, because when you're in that crisis mode, you feel overwhelmed, you have a heightened sense of arousal. Your brain won't let you think. The problem solving centers of your brain is being overtaken by the emotion centers. And so you aren't your best self. You're not your smartest self sometimes when you get emotional and you are in that crisis mode. So trying to think about what is a plan that you can do when you get into that crisis before you get to that crisis. So, for example, if you know your loved one is frequently suicidal, which is a problem a lot of people are facing right now because of all the uncertainty and the hopelessness. So, what do you do? What do you personally do when your loved one is suicidal? But what can they do as well? And just making it as simple as possible before the crisis hits.
I think that's well said.
Yeah, it is. And I really appreciate your talking about all of us, because I think, like you said, because we're in this time of uncertainty, we're all experiencing mental health needs that we probably didn't realize, helplessness, or maybe we can't sleep, and we're starting to notice these changes in our own behavior. And I appreciate that focusing really on those little things as have a plan that you can achieve helps that just addressing it and being open about it. And hopefully that's the goal, is that people can listen to this conversation and have some hope and saying, hey, I'm not in this alone. We're all feeling this right now.
And I'd also say it's really important to get your information from trusted sources, and so make yourself informed as much as you can about what's going on, but try not to overdose on it. You need breaks from the information as well, not round the clock news, I think, because that can be overwhelming in its own right. And just knowing that you're using reputable sources for your source of information is really important. I think that's something that, with regards to mental health and mental illness, that is something that NAMI really focuses on. It prides itself on being research-based. The information that we use comes from the Centers for Disease Control, the National Institutes of Mental Health, the American Psychological Association, American Psychiatric Association. I mean, we're not into sources that are not well reputed. So what we teach is fact-based. We don't push any particular treatment modality or approach. We just believe that being informed is the best way to try to help somebody work toward a solution for problems that works for them. And we believe that families know themselves and their loved ones best and need to make individual decisions about the kind of care that they pursue.
That was also really well said. You answered all my questions. Do you guys have any other last comments you'd like to just share with our Sonoma County community?
I would just like to add that right now, because of shelter in place, we are offering many of our services through Zoom, just like this interview. So we are offering support groups for family members. We are offering support groups for people in recovery from a mental health condition. We are also offering twice a week wellness chats and check-ins that are open to anybody. And it's a place to connect with other people. It's a place to not feel isolated. And it's a place to practice some of the mind-body medicine techniques that are being taught in this community to help build your sense of resiliency during challenging times. And all of our services are free. And the way to find out about them and the way to get connected with them is to call the Warm Line, which will just get your contact information and make sure that you're invited to participate in our groups or answer your questions about what we do and how to get connected.
Can you share the warm line with us? And we're gonna also post it right after this video also.
Megan, you want to go ahead?
So the warm line number is 866-960-6264. And since we are all working remotely, if you don't reach someone directly, just leave us a detailed message and we'll get back to you. What I try to do with our program is just emphasize and instill in people a sense that we have follow through, and that in essence, we do what we say we're gonna do. And my biggest suggestion for people right now is just have compassion for yourself, compassion for others. People are acting and behaving in ways they may not before, with or without a mental health condition. And I think just trying to put it in perspective that they are also working with the same information that you do, and just try to be understanding right now.
Well, I want to thank you both for taking your time and educating our Sonoma County community. And afterwards, we'll have your warm line number and ways that you could reach out to NAMI. Thank you both again.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to stop.